For more on Bondi's firing, we turn to Nancy Cordes at the White House. Nancy, take it away.
Major, this is something that the president had been mulling for quite some time. He made it clear in social media posts online that he was frustrated with the pace of prosecutions against his enemies. You'll recall there was even that one infamous moment where he posted something that seemed like maybe it was meant to be private. He said, "Come on, Pam, let's get going on these cases." And yet we saw case after case fall apart for the reasons that you mentioned, because there wasn't enough evidence, because they were put together shoddily, because there were career prosecutors who said they didn't want to work on those cases. They didn't believe that they were valid. And, that irked the president of the United States, who had certain expectations coming into office. And Pam Bondi had stated that she was 100% behind those expectations. But there's just so much that an attorney general can do, even when they are as fiercely loyal as Bondi was. We're all familiar with those clips of her heading to Capitol Hill and going after members of Congress who questioned her or questioned the president. What sets her apart from other top officials who have left this administration is that she is someone who was solidly in the president's corner for years. She was a member of his impeachment defense team. She held a very public role as an attack dog back in 2020 and 21, basically out there making the case for President Trump's baseless claims of voter fraud in the 2020 election. And so the fact that he is now easing her out of this very high-profile role is notable.
Todd Blanche, the acting attorney general, there was a bit of reporting, ours and elsewhere, that Lee Zeldin, the current EPA administrator, might be tapped as the next attorney general. Still no word from the White House about who the president will nominate for confirmation.
And that could still happen. Todd Blanche is someone the president is very comfortable with, like Bondi. He's a longtime loyalist. He was a defense attorney for the president. He's been serving as number 2 at DOJ. So it's going to be pretty easy for him to step into the role. The question is, will the president eventually nominate him to be AG, or will he pick someone else like Zeldin?
Nancy Cordes, North Lawn of the White House. Thank you so very, very much. We turn now to Jake Rosen, Justice Department reporter. Jake, this, as Nancy said, was kind of brewing for 2 days, which is somewhat unusual in the Trump universe. Typically, if the president wants to fire you, it happens rapidly. This was a process where it seemed as if there was a window for the attorney general to resign if she wanted to avoid being fired. She did not take that.
And she did not. And like Nancy pointed out, she has been somebody who was one of the first major players in the Florida political space to endorse President Trump back in 2016. She's someone who I ran into as a campaign reporter back on the trail in 2023 and 2024, appearing at events with the RNC to talk about things like election integrity and the other major priorities that the Trump campaign was pitching to voters. And I think that underlines kind of what's so unusual about today is that she did so many things by the book and by the direction of President Trump. She worked on and defended, with a lack of resources, less talented attorneys by any measure, because the career prosecutors and attorneys have been stripped out, fired, or resigned, and then had to go placate judges around the country and defend policies that were either unlawful or just simply had to actually have real legal merit put behind them, not just a true social. And for over the last 16 months or so, we've really covered all these cases in depth, and it was clear that her department was failing at doing a lot of those day-to-day things. That's just not going to change no matter who's in charge of the DOJ going forward.
In her defense, the outgoing attorney general posted on social media today that crime rates are down, that immigration prosecutions are up, and that she's got a record that she's proud of. There is something that has happened under her watch at the Justice Department that she does point to.
Oh, absolutely. And those things are absolutely true. It's the same for what can be said when Kash Patel touts his statistics, or Kristi Noem. The problem was there were distractions that were inevitable. The constant stepping on a rake when it came to the Epstein files, as you pointed out in your monologue, was something that she teed up unprompted at the beginning, right after being confirmed. It was something that then the DOJ tied a bow on with Kash Patel. Dan Bongino said to voters who had voted for President Trump and the most transparent administration in history, as they branded it right away, that there was nothing to see there. There was nothing worth investigating.
No prosecutions to follow up on.
And 6 months into the administration, basically saying, we did our best, looked into this. That placated nobody, unsurprisingly. But at the same time, not only did you have to walk that back, Major, the power dynamic among DOJ became pretty clear when, among the later stage of the Epstein files revelations in the DOJ, it was Deputy Attorney General, now Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche, who was the one talking to reporters. It was Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche going to meet with Ghislaine Maxwell at that prison. Some of those more high-profile moments where you want the Attorney General defending her stances in the administration and her decisions that she had to take. I also think about just the number of immigration cases, the number of DOJ reporters or DOJ lawyers that have been either held in contempt or threatened to be held in contempt. When you have an administration like this, which is pushing so hard on so many different fronts at the same time to try to undo what they see as either weaponization or judges, activist judges in their way, or rogue policies that have been put in their way, there just hasn't been an appetite among the laws and the rules that we have in this country and the people who enforce them to do that. And it's been a really constant one getting batted down right after another in the day-to-day playing landscape of the DOJ that makes it so untenable for somebody like Bondi, even though she's a loyalist, even though she'd done so many things right, to stick around.
The president pushes for results. They often have opinions behind those sought results, but when those opinions are tested in court, either on the law or the facts, they oftentimes fall apart or get severely weakened. That's a fact. Jake Rosen, appreciate the help. Thank you very much.